Hello everyone, my name is María Antonieta Ramírez-Morales, Mexican and second-year PhD student in Italy. I'm working directly in the company Haiku Nano and Universidad del Salento in the super cool project that is part of Marie Curie Actions. And today I want to share with you the tailored synthesis of dual-colored silicon nanosystem for biomedical approaches. So let's start. More or less, that is how my poster looks like, but don't worry, we will go together step by step. First of all, why you want to use fluorescent nanoparticles? Well, in biomedicine, it's necessary to be sure how a nanosystem is working. And using the fluorescence, we can be sure of it. We can control them and monitor them inside living cells. But the compatibility, stability, and dispersion are fundamental parameters. If we consider that we are using silica, this material is well known for its biocompatibility. So, in this work, we are presenting a two-cycle stubborn method for the tailored synthesis of fluorescent silica nanoparticles using two different dyes, green dye in the core and far red in the shell. Biotin functionalization was optimized even by two approaches. The first one is just simple absorption, and the second, covalent linking. In this case, the biotin is not just the dispersant and stabilizer, but also a fundamental part of the bioapplication in cancer therapy. And how we are doing this? A two-cycle stubborn method was analyzed. In the first cycle, we are adding the green dye, and in the second cycle, we are adding the red dye. After all the purification, we start with the optimization of biotin functionalization, changing the mass ratio between the nanoparticle and biomolecule from 1:1, 3:1, and 5:1 using the sonication bath for 30 minutes. All the dispersion were evaluated by zeta potential, DLS, TM, and confocal microscopy. So now I'm showing you why we call it tailored synthesis. We discover if we change a bit, a chemical or a reactive, we can get different size of the nanosystem from 25 nanometers up to 500 nanometers. But now we are focusing on 50, 90, and 120 nanometers. So you can see here, they are well-defined and they are spherical. So after this, we proceed with the functionalization. As I told you before, we use different mass ratio in two different approaches. So in the case of the silicon nanoparticles by itself, a zeta potential, it's negative. But a change in this potential from negative to positive after the functionalization is expected. In the case of simple biotinylation, we saw that yes, in the case of 1:1, we have a good potential. That means the biotin by itself can disperse the nanosystem. But if we saw the potential of 3:1, it's higher. As higher this value, as better the dispersion is. In the case of the biotin and Chester, 1:1, it's more than enough. And of course, we need to confirm we have this concentration of the biotin in the nanosystem. So we use a commercial kit just to be sure that, okay, we add 3 milligrams and we have these 3 milligrams inside of nanosystem. And as I told you before, the biotin is an important part of the bioapplication. So we will continue with analysis using these systems in cancer cells. Of course, fluorescence is the main topic of this nanosystem because we have two different dyes trapped in two different silica matrices. We can sort it under the UV light, as you can see in the left part. And with the TCAM device, we confirm the presence of both dyes in the solution by the fluorescent emission spectra. Okay, we can say that we have both dyes in the solution, but how we can be sure that we have both dyes in the same nanoparticles and not just one dye in one nanoparticle and the other dye in another nanoparticle? So for it, we perform the confocal images, as you can see the right part. The first column corresponds to the green channel, in the middle to the red one, and the last one both together, the merged one. Here, if you focus in one single nanoparticles in one dot, we can see the green channel there is, in the red there is too. But also, these images help us to know that it's well dispersed because we cannot see big agglomerates. And it's a good step for our measurements. So in this work, we are presenting a robust synthesis of core-shell nanosystem using 2 different dyes in 2 different silica matrix that is not reported yet. We optimize the funcionalization with this biomolecule to improve the dispersion and the stability, but also as part of the bio approach in cancer therapy. These nanosystems are potential tools for diagnostic and therapeutics, such as imaging and drug delivery. And of course, we want to say thank you to the project that is Marie Curie Action, as I told you before, the super cool project, and to every colleague that is helping us with this. So I'm happy to share with you. You can scan the QR just to go directly to my website, and I will be so happy to share every of your questions. Thank you.